Well, good morning, everybody. Our first map today is going to be the National Weather Service's All Hazards Weather Map, valid at 7 a.m. Central Time today. And we can see kind of the two big pieces we're watching this week. We have this deep upper level low that's still spinning over parts of California. And that's why we have the winter storm warnings out for much of the Sierra Nevada up to the Klamath Mountains. Very strong winds throughout the Great Basin with this as well, but we are anticipating up to 1 to 4 feet of snow at high elevation here above 4,000 feet in the Sierra Nevada. Now, the low that's digging in through here is going to eventually make a turn and come across the Great Basin and then eject somewhere over in this area, probably around Wyoming, into parts of South Dakota and Nebraska. We've already seen the National Weather Service issue a large area of winter storm watches here, and behind it, very cold air. You can see coming into parts of Montana already, we have wind chill warnings. Now, while this is all occurring, Nicole is making its way toward Florida, where the National Hurricane Center is anticipating Nicole strengthening to a hurricane. And the big changes there is that the latest track is trying to take Nicole a bit farther to the west before turning it to the north and running up the east coast. So very wet conditions are coming there. In the middle of all of this, we're going to be watching for some stronger storms in this area as we get out toward Thursday. So let's kind of dig into this. Our first map here is going to be an animation from the high-res NAM model. So this starts at 8 o'clock this morning Central Time, and there you can see the low into California. You can see the light rain spreading out ahead of this here and the snow to the north of it in the Canadian Prairie. But this is just really going to be some very strong onshore flow here. Could see some storms in the San Joaquin Valley, by the way. Now, the jet stream starts to push this system through the Great Basin by the time we get into overnight hours tonight. And there'll be a lingering front right in through here onto which this is going to emerge. So that's why I think this area right in through here is where the low is going to come out. Now, keep an eye on Nicole as well, because we'll start to see in the overnight hours the first rain bands from Nicole hit parts of Florida. Now, as we go forward into Wednesday morning, let's play out to there to Wednesday afternoon and evening, and then get to when I think this low is going to emerge, probably Wednesday night, right into this area is where we're going to be anticipating that. Now, the NAM is not known to be a good model to forecast hurricanes. It's better for these mid-latitude systems, and I just want to point something out here. It looks like a pretty tight circulation in the NAM model, but we need to be aware of what's going on here, and we're going to look at the National Hurricane Center for better data. But very heavy rainfall, coastal flooding, and there are storm surge warnings right along this part of Florida right now because of Nicole. Now, coming back to the upper Midwest, there could possibly be some ice mixed in with this, kind of through this corridor, but we're going to expect to see some heavy snows on the backside of this. I'll show you the snowfall totals in just a few moments. It will be Wednesday night into Thursday midday that we're going to watch for a pretty skinny frontal squall line that could come out of this, and that's the one that could move quite quickly, and that's why the Storm Prediction Centers issued that risk. But we'll take a look at these snowfall totals on the backside. I just want you to know that the tight spacing in the isobars here represents very strong winds, and so I wouldn't be surprised if this goes over to winter storm warning first, and then you might even see blizzard warnings just due to wind speed and snow alone. Okay, let's start in the west on the snowfall totals. Again, very heavy snows here in the Sierra Nevada, pushing through the Great Basin into the central, well, the north central Rockies into this area. Parts of, coming out here at the end of the Snake River Valley. You can see there is the possibility of 4 to 6 inches of snow possibly hitting parts of Montana, but the heavier snow is going to be farther east as the system ejects. Now, this is a pretty cool graphic that comes from the WPC, and I'm going to kind of zoom in here just to get a better look. This is showing us the probability of getting certain amounts of snow. So this is the probability of 2 inches. Let's step it up here to 4 inches. Hopefully it'll draw that for you pretty quickly. There we go. And then we can step this up even higher to 8 inches. And what you see here is that the corridor right in through this area here, coming out of northern South Dakota, stretching toward the Red River Valley, is where we have the best probability of seeing the heaviest snow band. So let's keep an eye right into there. It's also right on this side of the Snake River Valley that we could see it as well, kind of getting into Yellowstone. Now, just to see what the European model's saying, this is the latest forecast from the 0Z run. And again, there could be a corridor through here that picks up better than 8 inches. And given how strong the winds are going to be, this is going to be pretty rough going after this passes through. I also wanted to show you the latest update from the Storm Prediction Center. This is the outlook for the 10th, and so that's where we'll be keeping an eye on the strong storms. Now let's talk a bit more about Nicole. This is the 7 a.m. update from the National Hurricane Center, and they are predicting Nicole to become hurricane strength, so winds approaching about 74 miles an hour here, but then moving its way across central Florida before making a hard turn north. And it's going to move quickly after it does this because of the way that the low that's coming out of the plains is going to have its front grab hold of it. So what we end up getting here is that system that comes out like this and then races on over through Canada, Nicole comes through like that, and it'll be when that front slices through here that we get the heaviest rainfall possibilities stretching along the East Coast. And there'll be an area through here that picks up, better than 2 inches, 2 to 3 inches. There are some holes in this, though. You can see we're drier here and throughout the plains, especially the western plains into Texas. And then a pocket of the central and eastern Corn Belt to the mid-south is going to miss out on this as well. So keep an eye on those two areas. I do want to show you the European model, the latest update, just to kind of get an idea on this. So what we see is this is where we've already been out to. That's it, Thursday morning, afternoon, and evening. Now here's the main frontal boundary, Thursday evening, and you're going to see it interact with Nicole and basically push Nicole into New England, delivering some very heavy rainfall. Now behind this, the pattern gets quiet but cold. We will see some lake effect snow on the backside of this. But what's going on during this time period as we stretch it out is there's going to be enough cold air to bring some snow showers in through here, possibly early next week. The lake effect snow is going to be on, but you don't see any major systems. We can blame that on this big cross-polar ridge that goes from Alaska over to Scandinavia. And this is only setting up really well because about a week ago, the trade winds let go a little bit in the Pacific. They're coming back, but they let go. So therefore, the flow comes like this over that ridge and then dives into the United States. And that gives us colder conditions here, and that gives us more high pressure. But it's right in through here. See these troughs lining up in the Pacific? Those are associated with kind of the resurgence of the MJO getting back into phase 6, meaning we're going to go back over to an active pattern once we get toward Thanksgiving. Temperatures today and tomorrow, very mild out ahead of this, and this is going to set up for the possibility for some stronger storms. But what's here in the Canadian Prairie, diving into the northwest, the northern plains, this is just going to push across the country by Friday into Saturday and Sunday and Monday. And it's going to stick around for a while, through the 17th, all the way out to the 22nd. We don't seem to let go of that big Alaska to Scandinavia ridge. Now, how long does that really last? Well, see the trade winds coming back in full strength here? That's why the new long-range data suggests that we go back into a pattern, something like we've just seen. So the newest data here takes us all the way out to the winter solstice and shows you the temperature and precipitation outlook from the European model. And we're going to keep a close eye on this. Last thing I want to cover today is South America. We're going to do a 5-day sliding window of precipitation anomalies, because from the end of this week into early next week, better rains are coming into Argentina and southern Brazil. And you know we've been discussing a lot about the drought in these two areas. But when those trade winds start to make their resurgence and La Nina comes back, you see that the models want to clear things out again as we approach about the 16th through the 21st of November. So it could just be some temporary relief, but we'll have to keep an eye on the duration of those rains and see what it does to improve the quality of the crop in Argentina and parts of Brazil. Okay, we'll stop there. I'll talk to you again in the morning. Thanks.